Cool and this is Archive 12, and today we have a new Fury Hearted Productions song. Now, I'm going to preface this in saying that I've reacted to 2 of their songs so far. Both of them have been Divide Music mashups. The first one was Against the Current's Weapons Drag Me Under with Divide Music. It was a mix of his Vigilante Deku with Weapons from Against the Current. That one I really enjoyed. That was so good. Then I reacted to one of their older mashups with the Divide, which was his Zuko track mixed with Starset's My Demons. And I love Starset's My Demons. I love Starset in general. And I love Divide Music, obviously. But I felt that while that song, like 80% of the time, 75 to 80% of the time worked, there was that 20 to 25% that just didn't work. It kind of fell apart. And it took me out of the enjoyment of the song, mostly because of the fact that the lyrics were competing with each other. But that was an older song. That was a video that was created over a year ago. So techniques that were used in the Weapons Drag Me Under mashup weren't developed yet, or were still in the process of being developed. So we're reacting to a fresh new one. This one is NF with Divide Music, Taking Over the Days, and it features obviously his Nezuko track, which is one of my favorite, like more pulled back and more emotional songs. So I am very curious to see what happens here. Link will be in the description below if you want to watch this without my commentary, so we'll be pausing and we'll be talking about it. And without further ado, let's get started. It should be noted that I've only heard like a couple NF songs, so I'm not really familiar with NF. But like I really enjoy the Nezuko song, so it should be an interesting experience.
All of the small things, wasn't so adamant that I could handle everything alone. It wasn't so cautious and always exhausted, and actually listen to things in my heart. I don't see a way back. I know what's done is done. This person I become.
I am going to be slightly critical, only because of the fact that I want to really nail my feelings for this. So I don't want this to come off as like being overly negative. I'm literally just like giving my personal opinions and criticism, hopefully constructive criticism, over what I'm hearing here. So I rewound it a little bit right before Divide Music kicks in, so I can try and listen to how the lyrics work together, because that was my big complaint about the Zuko mashup, was that the lyrics for Starset's song did not work well with the Zuko song. It did not, like, My Demons just did not work well with the Zuko song. So I'm curious to see how he's approaching this. So I'm going to rewind it. I did rewind it, and I'm going to listen to it again because I want to hear how he kicks in.
It wasn't so cautious and always exhausted, and actually listen to things in my heart. I don't see a way back. I know what's done is done. This person I become. I know it's on. I know it's done. I can embrace it. Just innocent waiting, not always living in anguish. When did I break it? Become overtaken. What was the moment I caved and gave away all of my faith and made a replacement? I miss the days when I miss the days when I miss the smile we had when we were young. I miss the memories of feeling love. I miss us running underneath the sun, staring out the window when the rain would come. I miss the smiles we had when we were kids. I feel like life was so much simpler then. When we had joy and we were
so far, this has been incredible. And unlike with the Zuko song, where I felt like the lyrics were competing with each other, maybe it's because the fact the lyrics just didn't complement each other. Here, having them together complements each other so much because of the tone that Divide used for his Nezuko track, combining with this song. Like I said, I don't know this song. I've never heard of this song. I've heard of like 2 or 3 NF songs maximum, and this is not one of them. So I have very little experience with the artist, and I've never heard this song before. And I'm very familiar with the Nezuko song. So, like, the name is escaping me. Taking Over, that's right. So, yeah, right now, Taking Over is working really well with this. Now, granted, we are only 1 minute and 31 seconds in, but as of right now, this is phenomenal.
Mask off, and no, I'm not the same. Family is all I have to claim. Back when my imagination wasn't in the cage and it was free to run fast. Yeah, give me my mind back. Give me my mind back. Before it was hijacked and wasn't described as a place of limitation, always indicating I can't handle everything from my past. Hated anything it dissects till I'm depressed. I know I'm blessed, but I'm cursed too. Smiles we had when we were young. I miss the memories of feeling love. I miss us running underneath the sun, staring out the window when the rain would come. I miss the smiles we had when we were kids. Yeah. I feel like life was so much simpler then. Yeah. When we had joy and we were innocent. I give it all to feel that way again.
The way that they're using the feel it growing part to amplify the lyrics from, I'm guessing the NF song is The Days. The way that they're using Taking Over's section there where he's just repeating, I feel it growing, to amplify the feeling and sensation of the lyrics of The Days is ingenious. Like that right there is what I was hoping to have happen with the Zuko and Starset song, where the lyrics, although they are about 2 completely different topics, are capable of complementing each other just enough that one elevates the other. This is what I was hoping for. This is why my hopes were so high with that older song. Is because I heard the Weapons Drag Me Under song, which did the exact same thing, and I was expecting that. And that's, I think, why I ended up being a little disappointed with it. This song is doing exactly what the Midoriya song was doing. The Midoriya mashup, is that the lyrics that they're taking from Divide music are being used to amplify the emotional state from the main artist, which in this case is NF. And that's just, if you're going to do a mashup and it's not going to be equal one half or the other, I think that's how you're supposed to do it. Is if it's not going to be trading off back and forth, like kind of like almost a rap battle sort of thing, or just like the 2 like bouncing lines back and forth and the lines just happen to merge together, doing it like this where you're using most of the beat from one song as well as different pieces of the lyrics to amplify the emotional state of the other song, that is just brilliant for overall like mixing and mastering. That's so good.
I hear all the demons in my head say, come a little closer. I fight on for reasons that I can't say. Trying to hold composure. I feel you when I feel it taking over.
The only thing I would say about that last section there where Divide took the reins is that I kind of, and this is probably is because of the fact that, like, you know, I don't think that they had the individual sources from the NF song. They were probably just using the source that, you know, the straight up song from the NF song from the days. But the little section right there, I don't know whether or not you'd call it a choir, but it's the part that sounds like they're going oh in the background. I do wish that was a little bit quieter. Like, let's rewind that entire section here, and then just listen to how it's not overpowering, but it is loud and a little bit distracting. It works tonally with the song. I just wish it was a little bit quieter, but you'll hear what I'm talking about.
I hear all the demons in my head say, come a little closer. I fight on for reasons that I can't say, trying to hold composure.
You hear how it's just loud enough that it almost sounds like it's distorted behind Divide's his lyrics. When it gets to that point, it almost sounds a little distracting, because it sounds like the song is, I guess the best way I could describe it is straining to make itself heard over Divide's lyrics. And I don't think it needs that. I don't think it needs to strain itself to be heard, because it's pretty clear. And maybe that's just something that it sounds like in the days. Maybe like, but when you put the added part of taking over on top of that in the original version, I'm sure it sounds fine. But right here, when you've got Divide, either Divide needs to be a little bit louder or it needs to be a little bit quieter, so it doesn't sound like it's like trying to compete with Divide. It should be back there just complementing Divide, in my opinion. But in this particular instance, it sounds like it's trying to actively compete with his lyrics, which in this case, it sounds a little distracting. Or at the very least, if not compete, then it's fighting to be heard, or it thinks it needs to be heard. So it thinks it should have to, like, I don't know, make itself known. And that can easily be fixed just by altering the volume a little bit for those particular choruses. But if he's just if Fury Hearted Productions just took the two songs, cut out little bits and pieces here and there, but didn't have like the actual sources to raise and lower the volume for that, it makes more sense that it's like this, because you can only do so much editing before you end up like screwing up the quality of what you're editing. So this might have been the best that they could have done, but at least to me, from what I can hear, it just sounds a little distracting, and that's really the best way I can put it. Especially right here, where it gets louder. And also, I'm not talking about the female vocalist. That was fine. I'm talking about like the choir behind him.
I miss the smiles we had when we were young. I miss the memories of feeling love. I miss us running underneath the sun, staring out the window in the rain would come. I miss the smiles we had when we were kids. I feel like life is so much simpler then. When we had joy and we were innocent. I give it all to feel that way again.
Because of the choir, it's starting to get to that same level of chaos with all of the stuff that's going on, that I had a problem with the Zuko and Starset. doesn't feel like it's that big of a problem compared to the Zuko versus Starset song, because the Zuko Starset song, the problem with that one was it was so much. It happened so often throughout the song, at least 3 times, and it was very prominent. This time, it's been slowly and gradually building, and it's not as problematic, but it does still impacts the overall quality of this ending part. So,
thanks for listening, and a special thanks to our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to get access to our content early, feel free to support us on Patreon.
So, overall, I got to say that was definitely, I think overall, problems aside, my favorite of the 3 songs that I've heard so far, followed by the Vigilante Midoriya mashup, and then the Zuko song. Even after all the criticism is aside, I do think that overall that did work very, very well. I feel like there's just a little bit of tweaking that could have been done when it came to the chorus part of the NF song. That, because it did definitely, as it progressed, it got louder, and as it got louder, it felt like it was competing even more with Divide. And in doing so, because both instrumentals are going on at the same time, it did cause a little bit of chaos at the end. If it had been tweaked just a tiny bit more, it would have been perfect. Because I did like the chorus in the background. It just felt way too chaotic with how loud it got. And it just felt like it was trying to drown out Divide, which, you know, the purpose of a backup choir is to complement the main singer, not to overwhelm them. And that's kind of what I felt like was happening, was that it wasn't complimenting Divide, it was overwhelming him. But, you know, that at the end of the day, those little details right there, very small compared to the overall overarching like achievement that this song made, which was to combine 2 songs and turn them into something that was absolutely beautiful. And in that retrospect, it did succeed. So I'm really glad that I checked this out. This was really good. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thank you for joining me. I am Mark Alpha 12, and I will see you in the next video.